Hey legends, so welcome to Here's Rodder's Reviews, and you know it was coming after the last video where we're talking about this new Crow movie on the way. We're going to revisit the original Crow movie just for a little chat on this iconic film that was just beautiful back in the day. And the performance from Brandon Lee in this movie was amazing. As the Crow went on, different versions in the movies, you could always see that vibe of Brandon Lee and their one point or another, what he brought to the original Crow. The rest of the actors tried to emulate it in some way, shape or form. Fantastic movie. Very, very simple premise. A rock and roll guy and his girlfriend are killed in this movie because of horror fighting, tenant eviction, and the building that they live in. The gang in the city come to, beat their kind of law into this woman, put the fear on her. As T-Bird, the leader of the gang, says later on in the movie, Brandon Lee turned up when he claimed only went to rough her up, trying to get her to fall in line with their tenant relocation program. But Brandon Lee turns up, Eric Draven, and they wind up killing him and doing a heck of a lot worse to her. She held on casualty, or the emergency room, for a long time before she passed away, which ties in to the end of the movie. So he comes back a year later, resurrected by the Crow, to put right what went wrong. In this case, he's going to take out the gang that killed him and his girlfriend. So you have a great cast of characters in here. The movie has an intro where you have the voiceover from the little girl Sarah, played by Rochelle Davis, and she opens the movie with the legend of the Crow. People once believed that a crow carried the souls of the dead to the land of the dead, and then, if a soul had a sadness that it couldn't rest, that sometimes the Crow could bring that soul back to put the wrong things right. So she opens up the movie with that, and she also has a little monologue at the end of the movie that closes it out as you see the Crow flying in the distance. This movie, I would have to say, out of all the films I've watched in my lifetime, if you want to see a movie that could quite easily tell a story the way a movie should tell a story, visually tell you a story, this movie does it so well. It is so well shot. You could literally, other than that little sequence at the beginning where she's telling that little background story to the Crow and what the Crow does, takes the soul, if the soul can't rest, it can bring it back. Other than that, and maybe that little bit at the end of the movie, you could literally turn the volume down on this original Crow movie, watch it without the sound, and still have a good sense of what is exactly happening within this movie. It is very, very well shot. Tells a story so visually good you don't need the sound for it. But if you're going to use the sound for this movie, that is fantastic. The soundtrack to this movie on its own is amazing. One of the best movie soundtracks I've ever heard in my life. And I do actually have 2 copies of it in CD, and one still in the wrap, hasn't been opened yet. Nice little collector's piece sitting there somewhere in the back of the office here. So fantastic movie. The characters in it are great. Michael Wincott as Top Dollar, the guy that Eric doesn't find out to pretty much the end of the movie, is actually the guy that set the whole thing in motion. at the end of the movie, he pretty much confesses, he's just, it was me. Nothing happens in this town without my say. So, and that's when the memory of Shelley's last hours, the Crow has this ability to touch things and get a feeling from them. So like you see it throughout the movie. When he gets back to his apartment where he was killed and Shelley was killed, he comes across their pet cat that is still roaming the building, and as he lifts the cat, he gets this vision of what the cat had seen the night they were murdered. And so you see all these flashbacks and whatnot from that. It happens again when he gets the ring that he was going to give her. They were supposed to be married that night, so when he gets the ring, he has the memories from that. The reason he paints his face is because there's just a little mask hanging on Shelley's makeup mirror, and when he touches that, that's the first good memory that he gets. So that's the reason why the white face and the Crow makeup that he wears on it, fantastic. So you have Winston Zeddemore and here Ernie Hudson himself. Nice little line on there where he says, "Are you a ghost?" to Eric Draven. So a nice little nod to Ghostbusters there for him as well. So he has this memory of Shelley and the pain that she went through as she was dying from her injuries that the gang had, done to her. I want to be careful on how I say some of the stuff here, but so like 40 hours of pain, and that's how Eric manages to take out Top Dollar at the end. Top Dollar has the upper hand, more or less, at the end of the movie, and Eric grabs him by the head and transfers the memories that he got from Shelley through, I keep going to say Winston, but Sergeant Albrecht, played by Ernie Hudson, of course. So yes, what he got from him, the memories he had saved from that night, he transfers them into Top Dollar's head all at once, and that knocks him off the top of the church, that last fight on, and he gets killed. And at the end of the movie, Shelley's spirit comes, takes him with her to the land of the dead, and at the end of the movie you get to see the Crow comes back to visit little Sarah. This little girl was not even going to say an orphan. She has a mother, but her mother's tied up with this gang as well, like a drug problem. Just not a good mother. So Eric and Shelley looked after her if she needed help. At the end of the movie, the Crow, the board itself, actually brings the wedding ring back to give to little Sarah. Nice little closing out moment. Then she does her little moment at the end of the movie. The best way to have somebody live on is to remember them. True love lives forever and whatnot. The movie closes out, and it's dedicated to Brandon Lee's girlfriend. Now, I'm not sure if he was actually married to the woman at the end of it, but Eliza was dedicated to her and him. So the movie is fantastic. And I didn't even touch some of the other characters in there. Like, you have T-Bird, great character that runs the gang. You've got Tony Todd in there as a guy that's like the right-hand man of Top Dollar. Fun Boy, you have to feel sorry for him, Michael Massey. He apparently was the one that was Brandon Lee died from a shell and a blank going off wrong, the muzzle flashing a gun. There's a sequence, and it's in the movie. It's not the actual footage, but it's a reshot sequence where they had a body double for Brandon Lee coming to do it, and it's a flashback scene close to the beginning of the movie when, as I said earlier, when he lifts the cat he has the flashback of the cat scene. So you see Shelley getting raped and him getting shot twice before getting thrown out of the building. So the point where he's been held up, I guess, here, and Fun Boy takes a couple of shots at him. Apparently that is when, and the last time I talked about this movie, I got it wrong. I think I've chatted about this movie before on the channel. I think back then I said it was the sequence where he was standing on the table whenever this gang was having their meeting close to the end of the movie, and there's multiple guns being fired at him. It wasn't that at all. It was this little flashback at the beginning, well, close to the beginning of the movie after he's resurrected. And yeah, the shell broke wrong and the gun exploded wrong, and a little piece of shrapnel hit him in the heart, and unfortunately he died with either just as they were getting him to the hospital or on the way there. But this movie here, it ages incredibly well. The effects in places slightly dated now, but of course in 1990, long time ago, I was still in high school whenever this movie came out. So yeah, I have a lot of love for this movie, and I don't know if it should be touched. I really don't. We're going to be doing the series of Crow movies here. Of course, we're going to get into City of Angels in this next upload. We'll go through Salvation, then Wicked Prayer, and then we might hit the TV series. One I haven't fully watched just yet, because it's not just as good as what this original Crow movie was. That's why I think this new one with Bill Skarsgård is probably not the best idea. For me, I think The Crow, as far as the Eric Draven character, I think this is where Eric Draven should have just lived and died, let's just say. This movie should just be left untouched as a tribute to Brandon Lee. And again, as I said in the last video, they're going to do more Crow movies. Just create a new character for the Crow to bring back. Let Eric Draven rest in peace, the way Brandon Lee is.